What's up, everyone? So in this video, I wanted to talk about the ethnicities and the right brain ethnicities specifically. Now, I've talked in previous videos about how the light-skinned races are more in the left brain, the dark-skinned races are more in the right brain. Generally speaking, there's always exceptions on both sides. And a couple of those exceptions, for instance, for instance, Europeans, is you've got the Irish and Sicilian Italians, both of whom are more in the right brain, and they tend to display more right brain characteristics and personality traits. And yeah, so, those two groups can be included with the darker skinned races and the more right brain races, ethnicities of the earth. Okay, so I'm putting them in this category for what I'm about to talk about, all right? But when it comes to the right brain ethnicities, okay, unfortunately, because of the way things are set up now and because of the brainwashing that's been done to the population, I have to say that there's a lot of meat consumption when it comes to these races, and there's probably more meat consumption with these races. I would say, like nowadays, there's more meat consumption with these races than anyone else, than any other time. Okay, more meat consumption than their ancestors. All right. I mean, you've got black people who are in the hood. They love their barbecues. They love their fried chicken. You've got Mexicans who love their tacos, burritos, their cheese quesadillas, all this stuff. You've got Irish people who love their pork. Okay. I mean, you can look into the whole immigration story or just watch the movie Gangs of New York if you haven't seen it. And you'll see the Irish and all the other people that came to America and the story of the immigrants and how it all went down and what they brought. And yeah, I mean, you'll see during that movie and during that time period, Irish were really into potatoes and pork. Those are the big things. And with Sicilian Italians, you've got a lot of meat consumption there because of pizza. You've got a lot of dairy consumption too, but you got a lot of pizza, you got a lot of steaks. With Italian families, they love their steaks, they love their meat. Okay, I mean, they go ape shit over their meat. And then you've got like Hawaiians, they love their pig, their pork. There's a lot of meat consumption on these Hawaiian islands that I'm at. Okay, with the culture, that's just how it's been. So all of this is not a coincidence. Okay, the rulers of our world have they've basically integrated this into these cultures, okay, over a period of time. And with all this meat consumption, I mean, here's the deal: everybody's consuming meat. I tend to see it from the right brain races more than others, oftentimes. Okay, and this is the bigger reason. Okay, that the bad health from the meat and dairy consumption combined with the fact that these races tend to go through more poverty, more hardship, okay, more stress and things like that. And therefore, they're more likely to get involved in illegal things, selling drugs, doing things like that based on the situation, and how they grew up and their circumstances. But because of all of these things, with these races, with the right brain races, you often get a lot of aggression, you get a lot of bad attitudes, a lot of gang mentalities, mafia mentalities, violence, things like that, okay, in these right brain races and all the right brain races, okay? And sorry. Basically, this is the real reason why, when it comes to the right brain races, the dark skinned races, along with the Irish, Sicilian, Italians, you'll often have someone who has like the best energy ever. They're like the best person to be around. They're very funny. They're very, good energy, and you love being around them. Or you'll get somebody who's the opposite, okay, who you just can't stand being around because they have a shitty attitude. They're really, shitty mood all the time. Just because of all the bad programming that's been put onto them by the system, from everything that they've eaten growing up to the bad circumstances and poverty, the whole nine yards. A lot of people in the right brain races tend to resort to gangs, tend to resort to mafias and things like that, okay, because of these reasons, you know, and a lot of it has to do with the meat consumption. You know, the more meat you eat, the more aggressive you're going to become. With a lot of people, that's the case. And this is why, it's no coincidence that people who join gangs, people who join mafias, they tend to eat a lot of meat. You watch the show Sopranos, you see how much meat they consume. They consume nothing but meat, right? And look at the kind of behavior that they have. All right. So yeah, I mean, this goes for all the right brain races, and this is something to keep in mind. I mean, the indigenous ancestors that they had didn't even eat nearly as much meat as they eat today. So, I mean, they ate a lot more plants, they grew a lot more food. Okay, but yeah, meat consumption is hardcore prevalent in these races, and it's by design. Okay, because they're trying to take the right brain races and they're trying to basically invert the way that they're supposed to be. Instead of them being good people, nice people, more connected to nature, more connected to spirit, they've basically denatured them. Okay, and they've put them in poverty, the inner cities, oftentimes, So these are all things to keep in mind, I mean, you are what you eat. And, this is the big reason why people have the kinds of attitudes that they have. They consume way too much unhealthy stuff, way too much meat, and it can often lead to aggressive, even psychotic behavior. Okay, so yeah, anyways, hope everyone keeps this in mind and take it easy.